Howdy, howdy, howdy! You are live with a Q&A session with some of the girls currently in Beat the Scale. So if you've been watching along, Beat the Scale is a 3-month program in which you transform your life, lose the weight that you want to lose without, worry about that scale, learning how to eat appropriately and really truly loving yourself and loving your body and getting results. So the girls that are currently in the program have decided to jump on a call here with me for our live Q&A session that we do have every other week, so they can ask their questions and you guys can see exactly how a Q&A session works when we go live. So the last thing I want to do is, if you do watch this video and you'd like to ask me some questions as well about your nutrition and fitness, I am offering a free session this upcoming Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to be a part of this free Q&A and come in to ask your own questions to me, I just need to know in the comments below. I need 5 people to say, yes, I want to do it, and I will do a Q&A on Saturday. All right, so without further ado, let me add everybody in here. There we go. Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Hey, hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good. It's a great day today.
Sorry it's so loud here.
That's okay. We'll forgive you tomorrow. Oh, I saw you had your mask on, too. It's a cute mask, though. Wow.
I did. I had to go talk to the nice man about the brakes.
Yeah, that's a really cute mask, though. I didn't want to do a mask because I work from home. Like, I didn't buy any, and then I finally broke down because I had to get on an airplane. And I was like, well, I'm not wearing a plain white one on an airplane. It's like a statement, you know?
Yes.
We wore like N95s on the flight for Christmas, and oh man, those things are brutal. It's like, yeah, it's like tight, constricting. I don't know.
Oh,
To those people that have to wear them every single day, like, hats off, because I couldn't get through one flight with it. We were back to our like regular masks.
Yeah, I get it. They're restricting. So
They are.
anyways, okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of show them how these things kind of roll. So if any of you guys have questions, whoever wants to go first, feel free, shoot them out. What you got?
All right. I have a question about protein. So I was struggling with hitting the protein, and the last 3 days I've actually gone over my protein. Yeah. So which way is better? Not having enough protein, going too far? Like, should I just not eat the extra?
That's great. That's a great question. So let's go into detail here of how much extra and what the numbers are we were shooting for. Remind me.
I was shooting for 210, and we hit 240 today. I threw in extra tuna fish today because I was really hungry at lunch. And then yesterday I was 220, and the last 2 days I was 220, and then today was a little higher. It was 240 today.
So I just did that one. Okay. Times 0.3. Let me do 220 total. So I would say it's not bad to go over. I mean, it's not going to cause any issues with going over. So no matter what you do, any calories that are over where you're at have a possibility of converting to fat if we go over what we need, right? It doesn't mean that automatically happens. Protein is very lastly ever used as converting to fat because protein is a building block for everything. So I don't get concerned about that, but I do watch how much protein we're intaking just based on kidney function. Not that we have any kidney problems, but because we were shooting for 210, I'd probably say the max I'd try to go over. Like if I went over, I wouldn't feel bad if I was like 225.
Okay.
But I think if I got to like 260, I'd be like, okay, time to scale something back. So somewhere along the lines, I could do something with a little bit less protein and a little bit more carb or a little bit more fat. When you went over, was there a macronutrient you were under on?
I was under on fat one day and carbs the other 2.
Okay. So I would say then I would really pay attention to that, especially with your workouts, and because you're, trying to train for a marathon, to try to get those numbers a little bit different, because the carbs will definitely be what you need, especially as you go into the marathon training. If not, you'll start to feel protein does help recover sore muscles, but you'll start to feel that, or you'll feel sluggish, or you'll feel like I can't really push through a little bit more, solely because that carb is going to be the main fuel for that. So the best way for you would be, you know, how we talked about adding those like drinks that have carbs and stuff in them.
Yes.
I would try to start using those as maybe a way to boost up the carb, especially right now, just to see how they would do with you, but only during workouts. Like I wouldn't try to start doing them just like drinking them throughout the day, more like in a spin class or in a cardio class, just like maybe even doing like half or like a fourth of the actual and then mixing more with water to give it a little flavor, just to get your gut a little bit more used to it and then bring up the carb count. So that way maybe we won't go over on the protein.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, the BCAAs are coming in tomorrow. They're supposed to be delivered. So
okay, cool. Yeah.
I remember getting those like little packets when I was training for half marathons, and then I'd like bust it out on the runs, right? So
what's it called? I forget now. I forget what they're called, but I used them too when I did the half marathon.
Yeah, they're like little.
Gel.
They have them at the running store,
Gels.
and they would like almost give them out for like free, and it was almost like exactly what you need to like help get you through like another 3 or 4 miles when you're tired.
Yeah, that's what I told her. I was like, I would get the ones with caffeine no matter what.
Yep.
I was like, I mean, it's so beneficial.
Going back to my running glory days. Anyway.
I get it. I loved the half marathons, but you know, as much as I say I want to run a marathon, when I'm at a half and I'm done,
I only need a half.
Right, I'm like at 13.1 when I would finish each time. I'm like, yeah, I still don't have the desire to say, let's go do it again. So I feel like that's a really good sign I shouldn't run a marathon.
Maybe 17 miles, not 26. No.
Mine's the training. Like you actually have to run 20 miles by yourself. Like, and I'm like, that's where it gets me. I think I could do 26.2, but it's like the training to get there sounds super. I never trained for a half marathon. I just was like, let's go run it. And I would do it. Like never.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. I know it's ridiculous. I don't encourage that, but that's the way I did it when I ran.
Yeah,
never trained whatsoever. The longest I ever ran close to the half marathon was 6 miles. But when I was in college, I ran 10 miles every day. So maybe that helped. I don't know. Anyways, okay, enough about me. Who else has questions today? Go for it.
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm running, something really bad is going on. So y'all can have that.
This is the first time I've ever ran. I've never been able to run more than 5 minutes. So I'm like just taking it in and just accepting it.
Go for it. You can have all the running. No, I was pondering. We know how my pondering goes. My brain kind of goes screwy sometimes. So I was in the pool the other day and I was thinking about the water. And how you've put out that, an extra 4 to 6 ounces per 15 minutes that you're sweating. And obviously the 4 or the 6 depends on how much you're sweating. But when you're in the pool, you don't actually know how much you're sweating. So where do we gauge that 4 to 6, or do we just aim for 6 and call it good?
So I would go with a combination of both. How out of breath are you in comparison to if you got on an elliptical and ran or did, a spin class or something? So I would base it somewhat on breath and how hard you push yourself. So, right, when you work out, there's those days that you're like, oh my gosh, that was so hard. And those days that you're like, this was a joke. Why did I even work out? Right? Like, those moments. So that's how I would gauge that. Or the other two ways are to really know how much water you actually need. People weigh themselves before and after activity. And then basically you drink an ounce of water for every ounce you lost. So there's 16 ounces in a pound. If you lost 2 pounds of body water, then you know that you need to drink back 32 ounces. I don't like that because it makes you really have to pay attention to your weight, and people get stumped by that number, right? So if you're trying to lose weight and you have to weigh yourself twice a day, then you get frustrated with that activity. So I don't typically encourage that, but that is a way. The last way would be I just totally lost my train of thought, I would gear it on just being in the half. I'd go down the middle each time. Or you can say, okay, so I was in there for 2 hours, so I know I need to get back however many ounces of water. And then the first time you use, the potty, once you go pee, you need to see how clear or how yellow it is. If it's still really yellow, what I've been told and what I learned in school is I want you to chug water until you feel like you can't chug anymore. Like you're literally like, I cannot chug anymore. And then I need you to put it down, take a deep breath, and take 3 more large gulps. And that should mean you're hydrated. So when we're chugging water, we're literally, our body is craving that, it wants something. So as you chug, and then you have that like, okay, I'm full, like I don't think I could take any more. It does take 3 more gulps for you to technically be full. So, okay. So I would go with that one over the weighing yourself unless you really want to do that. So that's what a lot of people do. And that's a good point to touch on just because of like the weight. So I was trying to think of what it was called today. The 2B mindset in Beachbody has you weigh yourself every day so you can learn how the food affects you, right? Learn, okay, I had something salty, so my weight goes up, or I ate this, so my weight goes down. And the thought process with that is that if that number is detrimental to you, that plays a huge effect in your response of the day. So then how, we talked about today in the live video, the identity piece there, where if you're identifying your worth based on this scale, it's not going to work out for you. So anyways, anybody else got questions?
Let's see. Okay, I have 2 questions, but I think I have 2 questions, but my first is when you're trying to increase strength with something, okay, so there's a, for example, bicep curls that I try to do. With one weight, I can get to about 6. I can get to about 6, and then I drop the weight, and then I finish out the rest with a smaller weight. But I'm trying to like be able. I want to do the whole set with the same weight, and I think I am gaining strength. For example, with the push-ups, I was able to do 8. And then when I did the second round, I was like, oh man, I was still back to about 5, 6 cheat, right? The 6th one was a cheater. If I'm looking to like increase that, right? So let's say I want to do 3 rounds at 8, but I can't do full push-ups, right? For the 3 rounds. Is it better to just drop to my knees and finish that out? Is it better to do like a 4th set at a lower, with lower reps? And then I guess the same thing applies to like the bicep curl. Like, how do I increase that? How am I able to, I still can't get through a full set of 12 or three sets of 12 or 10 even with like the same weight. I'm still dropping down. So do I do like 4 sets of 6, 4 sets of like, how do I increase that? And then my other question, so that's one question. I'll have you answer that.
Okay. So on that, as for weights, so I recommend that you either do 3 sets of 10 or 2 sets of 15. Now, a lot of people would say do 3 sets of 15 and 4 sets of 10. But I find that women really respond really well to that. So your goal is that, okay? When you do the 3 sets of 10 as opposed to 2 sets of 15, you should be able to use a heavier weight on the 3 sets of 10 because you get to release sooner. Okay. So with that being said, that's the first thing. So if I'm going to do bicep curls and I'm going to do 2 sets of 15, I'm going to use maybe a 15 pound instead of, if I'm doing 3 by 10, I might use a 20 pound. Okay. So the number goes up when the reps decrease. Now, let's say that I'm trying to get that number up there. So I'm trying to get myself from being able to do 6 of them on the reps of 10 that are using the 20 pound weight, but I want to get to all of them. So the goal here is to always push 1% better every day. So if you can do the first set, like all 10 of them, let's say with the 20 pound weight, and then the next time the set comes around and you do the 20 pounds, you can get 5. And then the next time you can get 3. That's fine, but I want you to write that down. So I aimed to do 3 sets of 10 with a 20 pound, and I got 10, I got 5, I got 3. The next time you repeat them, I want it to be 10, 6, 4. And that's how you're going to get incremental gains. Okay. I still want you to finish it out because you're still building the muscle when you go down in weight. So that's important. So as let's say I'm doing 20 pounds, I get the first set, all 10 done. And then the next time I get 6. If I were to stop at 6, it stops the muscle tension. So I need to add the other 4 with a lighter weight. So I'm still getting it. And the faster the transition, the better. So I literally want, like, if you know you're going to have to go down, the weights are right there. I drop the weights, I pick up the next set. Like I have a split second delay kind of. Okay. And as for the push-ups, I would do the same thing. I would get down and do them on my knees because it's still time under tension and it's still using that muscle, which is going to build it in order to get there. So yeah, I would do both of those that way. And then just keeping the numbers for each set so that way next time you can increase.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think that's actually helpful because I think I'm doing it correctly. I was just like why? So it's helpful to know that I just need to like be consistent. And then I definitely hear you on like the 3 sets of 10 and then the 2 sets of 15. I think sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll just do an extra set or whatnot. And like, I want to push myself or whatnot. So, but I definitely see like the lower body strength, those gains like coming quicker and faster. Like, I'm like, I've already maxed out. Like we just got the dumbbell set. I just got the dumbbell set and like for the oh my gosh, I completely like dumbbell deadlift. Sorry. I'm like, what is that called? I'm like at 25s with both. And I'm like, oh, whoa, okay. So, and they felt good. They felt challenging. They felt good. And I'm like, I could probably go up, but like, I don't have 30s. So I'm like, do I get a bar with some like, with some plates? Like, do I go to the gym? Like, what do I do? So I definitely see the upper body strength is slower than the lower body strength. And I guess that's just like a byproduct of genetics, or does that just happen with like women in general?
That's typical women. Women are stronger in their legs than men are, and men are stronger in their upper body. Answer to that is that, so I was very similar and I didn't get 30-pound weights until, I don't know, sometime last year, maybe in the summer. And then I got 35-pound weights sometime in the fall. And I probably went a good year or so with 25 pounds and still got good definition. The way that I do it to increase definition and to sleek them out is I would do 25, let's say I'm doing squats. I do 25 squats and then I do I would do 15 squats and then I would do 15 squat jumps. Okay. So once we throw in that, like, okay, now I've got my squat jump added in here, it leans it out and it provides more definition and also puts more time under tension. So the next time I went back to do another set of 15, my legs would be more tired because I also put them under more of that.
The jump squats with the weights would certainly tax me.
So I don't do that. I don't do the jump squats with weights. If I do, I never jump
got it.
with a 20-pound weight. So I've always heard jump with a lighter weight because you're not really
like
going
like 5s in each hand or something.
Yeah. So when I first started, I did 5s, then I went to 8s, then I went to 10s. And now sometimes I either use like a 15-pound weight and I hold it between each hand, or I'll use a 20-pound weight instead of 2 separate weights. Because I like the way it feels better with 1 pound instead, or with 1 weight instead. But yeah, that's how I do it. The other thing could be if you do a slider, like if you have a slider at your house, if you're doing squats, instead of just going straight to squat jumps to take tension off your knees, you can do the squats and then you can have a slider under each foot and you can slide one way and then slide back while in a squat. And then if you're doing lunges, then you can do the lunges and then you can do the lunges on a slider. Again, it's time under tension, increasing that. And so you're still fatiguing the muscle more without having to go ahead and jump into buying the weights.
What about using like a glute band, or I just got these like hip resistance band. Can you add that as well? Okay.
Yeah. So I'll use those on some too. That helps a little. The other thing I was going to say was
because the hip thrusts, I'm already at 25 and I'm like, these are going to be pretty easy pretty soon. So maybe with extra like tension on that. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to say, if you were contemplating between a bar, like a bar versus more bells, I would say, honestly, like I've thought about it. I've thought about doing that. We just don't have the room in this house right now to do that. But I think that the next thing that I would do would get like a bar with
a barbell. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Just because I think you're going to be able to get more benefit from that. I've always wanted to do those like weights that you can like turn because so much smaller, and that's where you get 17 and a half, and I really want one, but I don't like the bulkiness on some of the moves, so I just never went that way.
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
I think that answered my and then the quality of, I'm sorry, I've got like many questions today. So the next question I had was maybe this is like the new year and just thinking about like nutrition and like goals and whatnot. But I think that we tend in like our household, I think that we tend to eat a lot of like red meat. I think I eat a lot of like the fish and the leaner meats like for lunch, and breakfast it's mainly like eggs, protein or yogurt, Greek yogurt. But I think at night we end up like we'll have like pork chops or spaghetti with meat sauce, etc. And I'm like, is there a recommendation for just healthy? And I also consider like Darren as well with his health to like really peel back or limit the amount of times we have red meat.
So let's say there's 21 meals in a week. How often would you say that you are consuming them per week?
Let me take myself off mute. I would say 21 meals. I would say like a third of them, maybe like a third to a quarter of them.
Okay. So a third to a quarter.
Maybe a third of them. Because we have like, I would think like at least once a week, like Darren's going to be like, oh, let's order a pizza. And I'm like, sure, yeah, it's fine. But it's always, we get the, what's one with veggies and meat, right? So Supreme, right? So I'm like, okay, that's processed meat. I mean, it's fine, but it's processed meat. And then we'll do like spaghetti with, we'll choose a leaner ground beef, right? The 93%, 7% fat, right? So, we don't do steak very often. We probably do steak maybe like every 3 weeks, maybe. So, pork chops and then sausage, but I try to get the chicken sausage.
Okay. So the chicken sausage, I wouldn't count red meat. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
As for the other things you mentioned, if you're doing a lean cut of red meat, it's really no different than something like that. So I wouldn't count it. So to me, I've really heard one time a week, if you get a pizza, is what sounds bad. So that one time a week is not really going to affect. But I would even say if you were doing it a third, like if you did 3 meals, that's not bad at all. That's actually a pretty decent number. That's very low, in terms of everything. I would say I would start to worry if, cholesterol numbers really went up or something, but I don't, cholesterol is more affected now by other things. It's more affected by the fats you eat, the fiber you consume, the lifestyle you take on exercise wise. So red meat got a bad rap, but red meat is technically as healthy as, leaner cuts of meat, as long as you choose to get the lean cut of red meat. You can't, if you're getting a ribeye, I'm going to be like, okay, we're playing a different game than if you would have just eaten a piece of chicken, right? Like different. But if you get something like a sirloin steak, now we're playing a little bit better there, right? We're on a leaner side. If you get the 93.7 ground meat, that's beef, or 93.7 ground chicken, or 93.7 turkey, it's the same thing. You're really looking at the same amount of fat with maybe some little differences in cholesterol because the animal's slightly different, but the overall health benefits there. So
cool. Okay. Yeah, that's helpful. I mean, I think like I really need to like tally up, I guess, the number of times, and then it's also if there's leftovers in the fridge, then I tend to have that the next day. So
yeah, I get that. I would say if you're really absolutely worried, I'd just take the sausage off. But I mean, on pizza, the amount of meat that's on there, like you're not even really having a serving on a slice of pizza or 2 slices of pizza.
Right. You're getting more like cheese and stuff then.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Of course.
That's all my questions.
Cool.
I hit my quota, guys.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Anybody got any last minute things? Okay.
I wish I could convince my husband that there were vegetables on pizza. Straight up believes vegetables do not belong on pizza. And I'm like, dude, we always wind up having to order 2 because I need a vegetable.
That's funny. Luckily, my husband eats vegetables on pizza, but I could still go for somebody to handle pineapple on the pizza with me occasionally. I love pineapple on pizza, but I have yet to find.
Good. That's
I'll do it cold. Don't bake it into the pizza, but I'll put it on top cold.
Oh, no, I like it warm. I think it's so good. I don't remember the first time I ever had pineapple on pizza, but I was like, God, this is delicious. Why do people say it's bad?
It's so good.
It's okay. My family says I'm not American because I don't eat bacon, so whatever. Anyways.
So speaking of vegetables and things, I had a weird thing happen last night. So strange. I roasted zucchinis for dinner, and I don't know what happened with the zucchini. Like, I tossed it in some olive oil and I threw a little bit of salt and pepper on it and I chucked it in the oven, right? And it tasted like pumpkin. It wasn't a zucchini taste. It was a pumpkin taste. And I'm like, what the hell did I do wrong? Never had that happen before. It was so weird.
Interesting. Maybe you put a pumpkin pie spice on it on accident?
No, it's just salt and oil. I don't know. I don't even keep pumpkin pie spice. It's all, like, I have all the individuals. Like, I would have had to really think about that.
Maybe it's because it came all the way from California and sat next to all the pumpkins on the ship to get to.
Maybe. Right. That's very possible. Somebody planted it next to a pumpkin or something.
I mean, as far as
we couldn't eat it. It was so weird. Like, they're just.
I'll have to try
completely shorted out my brain.
I would say the only other thing is I don't know that they're crossbreeding those. You know, like how we made cauliflower broccoli and crossbred those. Because really all that is the DNA of cauliflower and broccoli mixed together to make a new plant. That's what we did, right? Okay. I don't know that they're doing that with the zucchini though. But I mean, they make grapes that taste like cotton candy now. So maybe it's making zucchini that tastes like pumpkin.
Yeah, maybe, but they didn't label it that way. My kid likes the cotton candy grapes. I can't eat those.
I know.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
That's
Grapes need to taste like grapes.
Exactly.
A schnozberry needs to taste like a schnozberry, and a grape needs to taste like a grape.
Right.
So, anyway, we got this totally reminds me of, like, you know, and your brain is expecting like a certain taste, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Darren's birthday was today, and somebody gave him like a box of seized chocolates, and I'm like, I have one. I'm like, blah. This is a waste of a taste, right? I go in for another one. I'm like, this one's beautiful, right?
Exactly.
Now I understand why C's is getting me to eat the whole box. It's because my brain is looking for the hit, right? I want a zucchini that tastes like a zucchini. I want chocolate that tastes like chocolate, right?
Yes.
Anyway.
It's true. It's a true thing. But it's a good thing that you realized it was a waste. You know, that's when you're like, you spit it back on the napkin. You're like, not worth it.
That's true. Like, no. So. My mom also got me a health chocolate bar for like, it was awful.
Oh.
Sure.
It had like blueberry and quinoa pops. And I was like, what is this? It had 4 grams of fiber in it, which was pretty amazing, but like it was not worth the taste at all. Forget it.
Oh.
It was sweet. It was cute. She's like, oh yeah, you know, I know you're trying all this stuff. I'm like, it's fine. Anyway.
Exactly. The thought that counts.
Yeah, it's the thought that counts.
Yes.
Anyways, awesome. Well, for anybody that watches this, I hope they see kind of how our question and answers go. I thank you, ladies, for doing this with me. And if you did watch this all the way through and you want to be a part of the Q&A on Saturday, you just need to drop in the comments. I will make a post about it tomorrow. As long as there's 5 people, we will do it again on Saturday for people to come in with their questions. Outside of that, ladies, thank you so much for being here.
You're
and
welcome.
I hope you have a